All right, welcome to the Explainer. Let's talk about your bank. Is it about to be left in the dust? Because today, we're breaking down this high-stakes tech battle that's quietly deciding who wins and who loses in the banking world. And believe it or not, it all starts with that little app right there in your pocket. Okay, so let's just dive right in. I mean, we've all been there, right? You open your banking app and it just feels old, like 2014 old. It's a little slow, a bit clunky. But here's the thing. That's not just some minor annoyance. It's actually a huge red flag, a symptom of a much, much bigger problem that's brewing just under the surface. So that clunky app, it's basically a sign that your bank might be getting squeezed. Think of it like this. You've got the giant big-name banks. They're the league champions, with basically bottomless budgets for tech. And then on the other side, you've got these nimble, super fast fintech startups. They're the up-and-coming rookies, building these really slick, easy-to-use products that everyone's starting to love. And all this pressure, it's created what we're calling the digital arms race. It's not enough to just have an app anymore. No way. You and I, we expect everything to be instant. We want peer-to-peer payments that just work, mobile check deposits that don't fail, and, those cool AI-driven insights that tell us where our money's going. And let me tell you, delivering all that, it costs an absolute fortune. Just look at this list. This is basically the shopping list for any bank that wants to stay in the game today. We're talking about AI tools, migrating to the cloud, modernizing all the back-end stuff, and of course, top-notch security and fraud prevention that can spot a scam in like milliseconds. The thing is, none of this is optional anymore. These aren't nice-to-haves. This is the bare minimum, the absolute cost of competing. And it is expensive.
So, how in the world are these regional banks supposed to keep up in this arms race? Well, the first playbook is pretty straightforward. If you can't afford all that tech on your own, you team up. You get bigger.
And that brings us to our first players. You've got Fifth Third, based out of Cincinnati, led by CEO Tim Spence. They're a big deal in the Midwest and Southeast. And then you have Comerica, a Dallas-based bank run by CEO Kurt Farmer, who are really focused on business loans. And yep, the Fed just gave them the green light to join forces. And this quote really nails the whole idea here. This isn't your classic M&A deal just to grab more market share. No, this is about survival. It's a tech strategy. The whole point is to pool their money so they can finally afford that fancy modern tech stack they need to go toe-to-toe with the giants. Now, the big risk? Merging two huge, complicated banks like this is, well, it's incredibly hard to pull off. Okay, but what if you're a bank that already has that scale? What's your move then? Well, the game changes. It's not about getting bigger anymore. It's about getting smarter, more efficient. And that leads us perfectly into our next case study, PNC. So, PNC, based out of Pittsburgh and led by CEO Bill Demachak, they're already one of the big dogs. Their strategy isn't to buy up more banks. Instead, they're focused on completely changing how their bank works from the inside out. They're pouring money into AI and machine learning to automate everything they can and just slash their operating costs. I love this analogy. It's so true. PNC is using its size to invest in tech that makes them ruthlessly efficient. They're all about operational discipline, automating the boring back office stuff, making loan approvals faster, basically making every single tech dollar they spend work overtime. And really, this is the heart of their playbook. It's pretty simple when you think about it. They want to beat the fintechs at their own game. Their whole bet is that the best way to fight off these nimble little startups is to become just as lean and mean, but with the massive resources and power of a banking giant. It's a powerful combination if they can pull it off. But here's the reality. Not every bank is a giant like PNC, and not every bank has found a dance partner to merge with. So what happens when you're stuck in the middle? Well, that brings us to the cautionary tale of our third and final case study, Regions Financial. Regions, out of Birmingham, led by CEO John Turner, just had their earnings call, and they missed their numbers. Now, look, a small miss on its own isn't the end of the world, but the market's reaction was pretty rough. Why? Because investors are seeing the writing on the wall. They're worried that Regions is the bank that's getting caught in that squeeze we talked about and that it's starting to fall behind in this digital arms race. And this really lays out the brutal reality for a bank like Regions. They're getting squeezed from every direction. You've got customers who want slick apps thanks to the fintechs, you've got the giant banks outspending you on everything, and all the while, you're still dragging around the heavy costs of all those physical branches and old-school computer systems. And that quote says it all, doesn't it? This isn't something that happens overnight. It's a slow burn. The bottom line is, for a lot of these mid-sized banks, the math just stops working. They have to pay for tomorrow's expensive technology with the profits they're making from yesterday's business model. And eventually, that just doesn't add up.
Okay, so let's put it all together. What's the big takeaway here? We've looked at 3 different banks, all trying to survive this digital arms race, and they're running 3 completely different playbooks, each with its own huge risks and potential rewards. And this chart really just sums it all up perfectly. You've got strategy number 1, get bigger. That's the Fifth Third and Comerica plan. Hope that scale gives you the firepower you need. Then you have strategy number 2, get smarter. That's PNC, using its size to operate like a lean fintech. And then there's the third option, get squeezed. And that's the danger zone where banks like Regions find themselves.
Which, of course, brings us to the big final question. This whole digital arms race, it's not just some abstract thing happening in boardrooms. This is going to directly shape the future of the bank that holds your money. So, take a look at your own banking app. Think about your bank. Which playbook are they running? And what is that going to mean for you down the road?